so obviously things are exciting. Things are great here on my channel. Man, I made it happen. Everybody's excited. This is a virtual party that's going on over here because of the clean head shave that just happened yesterday in my time. With all that excitement going on, I've had a chance to look at some of the comments that came through this week, and I want to direct everyone's attention to the video right before I did the clean head shave, and it's called Testing My Hair Loss Theories on My College Roommate from 2002. Currently at 29 comments as I'm filming this video now. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Dark Energy, who said, quote, "You radiate so much positive energy. Greetings from Romania," end quote. Thank you. According to my heritage DNA test, it appears that I am part Romanian, so thank you. You're my long lost cousin, and also your icon is of Metallica, one of my favorite bands, and hardly anyone on this channel likes Metallica. Anytime I reference them or wear their shirt, no one cares. So for you, Dark Energy, you're the one subscriber who has the same love for Metallica as me. But that's really not what this video is about. This video is going to be about Robert and Maxwell Smart. They had quite a banter going on, so if you check out the comments, you can see how that goes. But they share several different things as they're talking about. And one of those that they talk about is, there's this ongoing conversation that I've been seeing going on where basically Maxwell Smart had said, you know, you're basically a better barber than where you were going to get your hair cut, you know, at the commercialized place. You know, I won't name names, but I wasn't actually going to a barber shop. I was going to one of those, you know, places where it's like $13, and so as I'm looking at this conversation between Robert and Maxwell Smart, what I'm seeing here is, to some degree, you can actually become a better barber by doing it yourself, to some degree. And as I was reading the comments, I think Maxwell Smart said it best when he said, as long as all I had was 2 inches on top and was keeping it short and wasn't doing anything fancy with fades or disconnected parts, fine, that worked. In a place for that, like that, it serves its purpose. But as far as me buzzing off my hair, as far as that goes, as long as I was doing the zero guard myself, I was doing a better job than where I was going to get it cut. Again, it wasn't at a barber. But see, here we are at the clean shave, and this is a whole different thing. I realize I could do it myself, but I don't want to do it myself. It's too much trouble, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy about the Boardroom Salon for Men, how they did this. That was way too overwhelming of a thing for me to take on myself. I have no desire to do it. I would rather somebody else do it. Honestly, so that's no problem. But I think there is an interesting paradox for a man who is perhaps experiencing hair loss or changes in his hairline or density, and he decides, hey, I think I want to just start buzzing off my hair. Sorry, I gotta pause. I look good. I'm looking in the selfie cam, I'm like, oh, that's me. Like, I'm used to seeing Max Da Silva, and he looks good with the completely bald in the beard, but like, talk about reinventing myself. I really love this. Now, granted, I'm not gonna commit to it because it's too much trouble for me. I'll do the zero guard. But seriously, like, and that's the hope. The hope is that if I can look this good, you can probably look this good too. But that's the thing. People keep saying, Nick, but I'm not as brave as you. And I keep saying, you become brave the moment you do it. Okay? Like, you want to jump off the high dive into the water, off the cliff into the water like everybody else is doing because it looks fun. I'm not brave enough. You're not brave enough until you do it. The action leads to the adjective of being brave. What was I talking about before I started admiring myself? I was talking about that sometimes in the journey of hair loss, as you're battling, oh no, I'm feeling insecure because my hairline's changing, I feel like I'm going bald, I don't know. It's funny because certain parts of that, if you read the comments of that video I mentioned, you'll see that ultimately there is some truth to that. You can actually be better than the people who actually cut your hair. Because if you go to a place where I've always gone, you know, again, I'm not going to name names, but you just walk in and they're not specialized at what they do. They're not a barber shop, so they can do basic general stuff. And see, that's the thing. As far as hairstyles for me, actually having hair, what looks best on me if I'm gonna have hair is having 2 inches on top, having it very short on the sides and the back, and nothing fancy. And they can't really mess it up that easily. like say it was a number 2 on the sides and the back, blended into 2 inches on the top. Nothing fancy. They can do that right. They can do that a lot better than I could, because I can't do that, right? But the zero guard buzz cut, I can do that very well for myself, and it's not an issue, especially the way I do my beard when I do the zero guard myself. I am doing, 2 days of stubble, and that 2 days of stubble matches the same length of the zero guard, which is probably like a 5-0 guard that is the equivalent of what I've got going on there, would be my guess. And again, a clean shave, wouldn't want to do that myself. But it is interesting, the paradox, and of course Maxwell Smart is a barber, and for him to admit that and be honest, and that's always how I want to be. I always want to be honest and open about what's going on here, about how I feel, what I'm trying to do here. It is interesting that in theory, at some point in the gradient, that you can actually become better at than your own barber, which with the zero guard buzz cut, my hair looked better than when I was getting some of these hairstyles that involve these fades, where Maxwell Smart the barber will look at it and say, oh yeah, I can see right there it's uneven, or whatever it is. Like, that's an interesting concept for a barber to be so honest to say that, but it's not across the board. There's certain parts of that work. And for anyone out there who would say, Nick, definitely I like you better clean shaven than the zero guard, you know, and see, that would point back to, I'd rather go to a barber for them to do that. If I were in that position. I mean, I could eventually learn, but it just comes down to a matter of, at some points, a barber is definitely better, and at some points, maybe not so much. For me, I'm planning on sticking with the zero guard buzz cut. This was a fun experiment though, and I'm trying to make as many videos as I can having the no hair to really show it off while I've got it, because let's face it, I can't imagine, even if I tried on my own to do the zero guard buzz cut, I don't think I could do it as good as this. And I think it did take the next day to really set in to see how good this looks with the cleaned up neckline, or whatever this is, here on my beard stubble. So just the paradox of that. What if you can actually become better than the person who cut your hair? But I want to close this video by saying, ultimately, I'm a firm believer in barbershops, even though I don't go to one, but I did yesterday, right? At the Boardroom Salon from in Nashville on West End. I went there. And by the way, now that I'm recording this video saying it out loud, when's the last time I went to a barbershop? Like, it's been years. Because as a dad, as a husband, I am being a dad and a husband all the time. And me getting a haircut meant me going a mile down the road and taking my kids and getting theirs done, and me getting mine done real quick. That's what getting a haircut, to me, I'm not going to break away from my schedule and go to a barber if I still care about hair. But see, that's the thing, like, Nick Shell fundamentally doesn't care about hair, which I guess needs to be my next video.